My name is Elizabeth Pampalone, and you're listening to the Absolute Marketing Podcast. Today's tip is about motivation and what to do when you just don't have it. It is very, very difficult to motivate oneself when oneself is one's motivator. And I say that in a lighthearted way because we all know that there's all this stuff out there, all these gurus out there saying, know your why, and that's what's going to get you through, and, be motivated by your family, and those things that you want to do, that travel you want to take, and all these things. After the pandemic, I think a lot of us have spent a lot of extra time with our families, more than we had anticipated, and we also have had our travel dreams kind of trashed. So now what is our why? What is our reason? I can't tell you how many days during the pandemic that I would get up and force myself to walk into my office, force myself to sit down at the computer. And the only thing that was keeping me going was that I didn't know what was going to happen next. And I didn't know how we were going to make it through the next day. Financially, emotionally, as a country, as a nation, as a world. And that's really what kept me going was, if I don't sit here and do my job, then what could happen? After the pandemic, and as things started to open up, especially in my state of Florida, where things opened up rather quickly, it was even harder to put yourself into that mindset of, why am I doing this? And to motivate yourself. And I found that as we got into January, February of this year of 2021, it became even more apparent to me that the motivations that most gurus talk about are not really motivations at all. And as I dive more into my own spiritual journey and into my own health and wellness and, the whole why we're here and why are we doing all these things, I can tell you that after 15 years of hustling like a maniac, I won't say that it wasn't worth it, because I believe that there's a time for that. And that it's usually at the beginning. It's usually when you don't feel like you can or you don't think you can. But you do come to this place after many years, after a lot of struggle, after a lot of triumph, after you've kind of been up and down the roller coaster many, many times, where you don't really feel it anymore. And you don't really understand this feeling because all it's ever been is exhilarating. All it's ever been is this roller coaster ride that you had to keep getting on because it was like compulsory. You couldn't help but get on the roller coaster. And when you get to this place as an entrepreneur who's been around for a while, you feel like, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And it becomes a nice, comfortable little cocoon that you can put yourself in. And it's really unfortunate because it completely zaps your creativity. It takes away the joy of the things that once were exciting and fun and your passions. It also makes you so almost apathetic to the cause that you've been fighting for this whole time. And I'm speaking about all of this from experience, and I know this is a longer podcast. Several of mine have been longer in the last few weeks, but I really want to get across this idea, and I want you as an audience listener, if you're feeling this, send me a note. I will write you back. We will commiserate together. And I feel like that this is something that afflicts a lot of business owners at that midpoint. I've always said that I'm for the business owners and the small businesses that they've been around a while, but they've gotten stuck, right? They are stale. They are stuck. They don't know what's next. They don't even want to think about what's next. They've been thinking about what's next for so many years, for so long, even if it's 3 years. Like, that sounds like such a long time. You've been thinking about what's next for so long that you can't even, it's like, I can't even think about that anymore. I'm just so tired. And I think that there is a cure for this, I don't know, this disease. And I honestly believe it comes to a much deeper understanding of why we were put on this planet to do what we do. And for me, you know, regardless of the personal goals that I have or the personal aspirations I have achieved a lot of things that I had on my list, right? Like I got married twice. That was unintentional. I got a house. I have a great family. I have traveled. I've done all these things. And yet at some point, it seemed almost as if it wasn't enough. And, what was that next thing what next hurdle could I get over? What is it? A bigger house? Is it a better car? Is it and then I realized a lot of it was material. And I think that we get sucked into this vortex of, well, your next thing is your next thing is a visual of success. And if that visual of success is to fly first class, if that visual of success is to have the fancy bags or to, get your hair done every single week or every single couple of days or get your nails done every week and I'm talking about these are little things, right? But they make a big difference. Maybe it's to, like I said, get that bigger house, get that nicer car, to travel to certain places that, have Christmas on Christmas Island. I have a friend that did that. Those things are those status symbols that say, you've made it. You've arrived. You worked hard. You got here. You did it. But when are we content? And not content in a way that says, I'm done. I'm content. No big deal. I don't need to go any further. But content to say, I have made it. I have done a lot. I know there's still more there. But today, I don't have to hustle without losing motivation. And that's such a fine line, such a fine balance to walk, because there is this tipping point that says, well, if there's nothing left to do, or if I'm content, then there's nothing left for me to do. I don't have to go further. I don't have to hustle. I don't have to do anything. Might as well just quit now. Quit while I'm ahead. But if we have this sense of contentment alongside of, hey, what's next? What could I be thinking about and dreaming of that is next? That's next beyond what everyone else is talking about. That's next on a different plane. Not, oh my gosh, we have to put out these social posts next, or we have to write these blog posts next, or whatever. But that's, where is this industry going? And with the last year and how things have changed so much as far as the way that social media is being used and who is using social media and how they're using it, and marketing as a whole, I've known people that have actually gone completely off of social media and all of marketing sources and services, and all they use is their website and their email list. And then they go to in-person events and they speak. That's it. They are doing the bare minimum, and it's because things have changed. And the way we communicate and what we communicate has changed. And if we're looking at our own industries and we're saying, I'm content with what I've done, the fact that I can sit and be quiet and be still and listen to what my innermost thoughts are telling me about my industry and what I'm actually hearing from the people, from myself, from my experience, from my intuition, that stillness, that quiet is what brings us to a place of not only the contentment that we need for ourselves, because if we've been in that hustle life for so long, we need that still. And it's almost like detoxing. It really is. And I just want to encourage you, if you're feeling that restless feeling, if you're feeling like it's never enough, if you're feeling like you have gotten to this place and you should be happier than you are, I'll ask you one question. Are you content? And if you'd like to talk more about that, my door is open. I'm happy to chat with anyone about that. It has been a great struggle for me. I am still in the process of learning how to deal with it and how to be content, but I definitely have made some great strides, and I would love to share those with you. You can go to my website, email me, or give me a call. My website is getabsolutemarketing.com. But please take a look at what you're doing right now. Stop that hustle. Don't lose that motivation, but also look at yourself and say, am I content? And if not now, when? Talk to you next time. Thanks for listening to the Absolute Marketing Podcast. If you'd like to learn more, please visit getabsolutemarketing.com.